Hello and welcome to our presentation of the State Soil Project for the state of Rhode Island, presented by Jeremy Atkins, Tomas Dorica, and myself, Sean John. To start off the presentation, I would first like to introduce the state soil and give a brief history about it. The state soil for Rhode Island is called Narragansett. The soil was introduced in 1934 in the Kent and Washington counties of Rhode Island. The soil was given its name from the town in which it was discovered, Narragansett. However, the original name, Narragansett, was derived from the name of an indigenous tribe that once lived in the area and still reside there, called the Narragansett Indian Tribe, meaning people of the small point. Now we will begin to talk about the taxonomy of the Narragansett soil. The typical peat-on of Narragansett soil is as follows. Narragansett silt loam, 0 to 3% slopes, mixed, active, mesic, typic, diaster depths. And if you noticed, I bolded a word in red, the U-depths. And U-depths is characteristic of a soil found in a humid climate. And if you notice, I also underlined EPT, and this is indication that the soil is an acceptosol. An acceptosol is one of the 12 soil orders. And an interesting thing I found out about acceptosol is that they are one of the most abundant soil types in the world, with approximately 22% of nonpolar land being composed of inceptisols.
Hello, I am Jeremy Atkins, and I'm going to tell you about the distribution of the Narragansett soil and why it occurs. The Narragansett silt loam covers about 12,000 acres, primarily found in the uplands of central and southern Rhode Island. While this soil is celebrated as the state soil of Rhode Island, it is also found in Connecticut and Massachusetts. So, why does the soil occur? As we have learned in class, soil is formed by climate, organisms, topography, parent material, and time. Starting with climate, this region is an ecotone between humid marine and humid continental climates. As such, the moisture promotes leaching and the cold winter temperatures cause frost action, which breaks apart rocks. Next, the organisms. Rhode Island state soil formed within a mixed hardwood and pine forest. The hardwood trees return nutrients to the soil as their leaves fall off, and some of those nutrients are basic. On the other hand, the conifers tend to promote a more acidic environment. And of course, we can't forget the worms that aerate the soil. Next is the topography. The Narragansett soil develops on a glaciated upland and rolling hills. The soil actually has two parent materials. The first is glacial till, and the second covers that, and it is the aeolian deposition from dry and windy periods. Finally, this took a lot of time. The time zero event that marks the beginning of the soil's formation was around 18,000 years ago, when glacial retreat had uncovered Rhode Island.
I would now like to talk about the soil characteristics of the Narragansett soil. The first characteristic I'm going to talk about is color. Color has an important place in soils as it's easily seen and can provide useful information about soil conditions. As you can see from our soil, typical peat-on has three horizons, the A, the B, and the C. And each horizon has a certain color assigned to it. So I can see as the A horizon, you have the hue, which is 10YR, the value, which is 3, and the chroma, which is 3. So for example, the first one is a 10YR 33. So the value is a 3. So values range from 2 to 8, with 2 being the darkest and 8 being the lightest. So it's a pretty dark soil. And then the other 3 is chroma, which is 0 to 8, so dull to bright. So 3 is not really too bright, but as you notice, our soil horizons, the numbers increase each time. So, and also you notice this color also changes to a lighter, goes from dark brown to dark yellowish, yellowish brown. And also if you notice the horizons, they're A and then B, which is B1, BW1, BW2, and BW3, that indicative of weathering. So we have a weathered soil, weather conditions. And like I said, color, it's a good place to start for soil because it's easily seen, and it also can provide useful information about soil conditions. Another soil characteristic I will talk about is structure. And just like soil color, structure is also another important characteristic to look at when studying soil. So for our Narragansett soil, for the A horizon, we had medium granular, and this is pretty consistent with granular. Granular is usually going to be found in the A horizon. This is mostly due because using A horizon is a lot more sand content, and so granular structure has great amounts of porosity, so a lot of water is going to get through. This is mostly because sand particles are the uh, biggest size, around half a millimeter, 2 millimeters in diameter. And as you get farther into the soil, you get the B horizon, which is weak subangular blocky. And this is not as porous as granular, but it's still pretty porous, so you're gonna get still a lot of water infiltration. And you get a little more clay, so that's where the least porosity comes in, but you're still gonna get a lot of water porosity. And then you get to deep down, you get the C horizon with the structure of massive, or also known as structureless. And this is just basically consolidated mass of just dense clay particles. And this is where you're going to see basically no porosity. And this is mostly due to the accumulation of clay. And you get no air and no water movement from this. And by studying these structures, you begin to learn more about why certain things, how soils behave, and it's very important in soil science to study structure.
Hello, my name is Tomas Dwarka. I'll be talking a bit about the benefits that humans receive from Narragansett silt loam, as well as some negative impacts humans cause on the soil. Narragansett soil is the state soil of Rhode Island because it's well suited for most land uses and has few drawbacks. One of the main benefits humans derive from Narragansett soil is its high potential for producing food, forage fiber, and ornamental crops. According to the USDA, where the soil is without surface stones or boulders and where the land is level or gently sloping, Narragansett soils provide prime farmland. Also, because of the thick silt loam textured soil, Narragansett soil has a high available water holding capacity, so irrigation is hardly ever needed for crop production, usually only in the dry seasons or droughts. Besides farming, economically, Narragansett soils are a great source of gravel and sand for the mining industry. Some drawbacks to the soil are that it's subject to high erosion when the soil is disturbed due to the large silt content. When development occurs on the soil, either from farming or construction, erosion control must be practiced to minimize the amount of material that will run off into streams and rivers.